Okay, very good morning, all of you. So in the previous classes, we were discussing about the voltage. So how voltage is depends upon the reactive power. Both the voltage and reactive powers are the just like a faces of a two coin. The changes in the voltage changes the reactive power. Similarly, the change in the reactive power changes the voltage. So for that purpose, we need to take a condition of reactive power. So in the previous sessions, we were discussing about the how reactive power, how reactive power we need to control, how we need to manage, and how we need to improve. So depending upon the voltage control, we can control the reactive power. So similarly, in order to control the voltage also, we have studied the different control techniques. So in this session, we are going to study how actually the voltage is dependent with respect to the reactive power. So for that, we will consider one circuit diagram. So these circuits we actually studied in our circuits subject. So similarly, just consider one more time. This is our simple circuit, simple supply load. A load will be having a supply of voltage E. Yeah, fine. So here the load is the load. The load may be inductive load, the load may be capacitive or maybe resistive. So don't bother about that kind of a load. So just consider a load. So here now I'm going to consider a load which is supplying with the supply voltage of E. Okay. So the load is considered as R plus JX. Okay. And the power is the combination of both active power as well as reactive power. That is our real power. Okay. And now we are going to consider the load as inductive in nature. So we know what happens to the inductive in nature. If the load is inductive in nature, what is the relationship between the voltage and current? So the relationship between the voltage and current. The current will be lagging by the voltage for the angle phi. If we are going to consider a load as inductive. So this is the phasor diagram. So I will explain how to draw the phasor diagrams for the inductive load. So similarly, so this is the phasor diagrams for the load as capacitive. Since the current is leading the voltage, and similarly current lags the voltage. So this is for lagging. This is for lagging current, and this is for leading current. Okay. So now if the load is lagging in nature, how to draw the phasor diagram? Okay. First consider the voltage signal. So draw the voltage line. Okay. So since the current is lagging in nature, draw the current axis at an angle phi. So draw a current axis at an angle phi. So this is the current lagging the voltage. Okay. Now we need to consider the next step. The next step is for drawing the phasor diagram is we have to compare. We have to add the resistive load with the inductive load. So by adding, we need to consider the voltage drop. The voltage drop is nothing but I into the resistive load. So take a parallel line along this. The same parallel line, the line which we have drawn here, the same parallel line we have to draw here. So this is our voltage drop, IR drop. IR is called as voltage drop. Okay. We need to draw a line at 90 degree with respect to this line. So this is not exactly 90 degree. Actually, we have to draw a line exactly 90 degree. So just draw a parallel line of 90 degree. So add these 2 points. Okay. So this is our phasor diagram for the current lagging the voltage. Now I am considered the phi. Here I is nothing but the current that is flowing through the load, that is at an angle phi. The lagging in nature. The load is lagging in nature. So I have drawn the current lagging the voltage, that is phi. Okay, this is a point 0. A line which is drawn from 0 to V is called as A. Okay, this is our V. The line which is drawn here, this is our V, this is our I. The line which is drawn parallel to this is called as IR. and just continue the dots. For analysis purpose, we have to form equations. So for that purpose, we need to calculate what is E. So okay, before that, now take this point. So this is a parallelogram. Okay, this is the parallelogram, that is our E, equivalent line. Equivalent line. Okay, this is our E. So actually we want to calculate this E, the supply voltage. So how this supply voltage is depends upon the reactive power. The reactive power is adding with the load. So for that purpose, we have to calculate this line, this E. So how to calculate this E? So we know the Pythagoras theorem. In any right angle triangle, the sides and the squares of the sides and opposite square is equals to your this E. Okay, so E. So we know. So here we need to construct a right angle triangle. Just continue the dots. Okay, so this is our right angle triangle. This is our right angle triangle. I hope you people understand how to draw the phasor diagrams, right? So this is one point O. This is A. I'm just considering the points in order to calculate this. This is A, and the points and the distance which is covering this IR. IR. So just take the dots. So this distance is called as AB. Okay, this is our AB, and the dots till here, because we need to calculate OE. So if you want to calculate OE, we need this side square plus this side square. That's why I am extending this line. So this line is called as C and this point is called as E. So here BC is equals to this one, the extended line, the extended dots is equals to BC. Okay, and finally apply the Pythagoras theorem for this phasor diagram. So E square are nothing but OE square. OE square is equals to OA square plus AB square plus BC square plus CD square, right? So we need OC. So this entire OC is given by OA square plus AB square plus BC square. So this entire side square plus this side square, DC square. So this equation gives you the equation for voltage, which is depends upon the load. The load is inductive in nature. That's why it is lagging. I is lagging by voltage at an angle phi. Okay, this is the phasor diagram for lagging loads. Okay, so what is OA? So we know how to calculate. So how to draw the phasor diagram. Okay, I'm just erasing now. Okay. So here OA, as I told, this OA, this line is your V. The V is the voltage that measured at the load side. That is V. And AB, this is the AB. The AB is the distance that we drawn here. So just if you want to calculate AB, how to calculate AB? So here we have IR, and this is a dotted line, and this is so this entire looks like a right angle triangle. This entire block looks like a right angle triangle. Okay, so the side square. Similarly, apply Pythagoras for this block. The AB. Okay, this AB gives you the IR cos phi. So not Pythagoras, sorry, not Pythagoras. Apply cos. So cos phi. Cos at an angle will be given by, what is the cos? Adjacent side by hypotenuse, and sin phi is nothing but opposite side by hypotenuse. So cos phi, adjacent side by hypotenuse. So this is the adjacent side. This is the adjacent side. So AB is equals to IR cos phi. Okay, and next we got OA, AB, and next we need BC. So what is this BC? So what is this BC? So again here we need to consider one more right angle triangle. So what is that one more right angle triangle? This is the triangle. So consider this right angle triangle. Okay, so this just take it as some F. So FE is equals to BC. So what is FE? So FE, so here also similarly apply phi. So sin phi, opposite side by hypotenuse, opposite side by hypotenuse, opposite side by, sorry, this is the opposite side by hypotenuse. So cos phi is adjacent side by hypotenuse, this is opposite side by hypotenuse. So this into hypotenuse will give you the this line. So what is this? FE or BC, both are same. So that will be give you the Ix sin phi. So what is Ix here? So this is our IR. Similarly, the line drawn along the parallel adjacent with the perpendicular to this line gives you the Ix. So Ix sin phi gives you the BC. Okay, I hope people are getting the concept. So we need OE. So OE will be given by OC plus OC square plus DC square gives you the OE square. So what is OC square? OC square is equals to OA square plus AB square plus BC square. So OA is given by V and AB is IR cos phi, and BC gives you the IX sin phi. V IR cos phi, IX sin. Okay. Okay. The next thing is side is over now, and adjacent. What is the adjacent side? So DC. So DC will be given by DE minus CE. So we don't know DC. We don't know DC here. So DC will be calculated by DE. So this is DE minus CE. This is C. So this gives you the DC. So what is DE? DE. So DE will be given by our Ix cos phi. So just consider one more right angle triangle here. One more right angle triangle. So DE will be given by Ix cos phi, and similarly CE. So this CE. So this right angle triangle. CE. So here not right angle triangle actually. So this CE. The CE and AB both are same. So that is by your triangular formula, triangle formulas, triangle laws that we studied in our high school. In our high school, if you are considering any two triangles, the isosceles right angle triangle, the sides will be same. So that by comparing that, by going through that law, the AB will be equals to the CE. AB will be equals to CE. So what is AB? AB is IR cos phi. So IR cos phi. Okay, IR sin phi. So by using that loss, IR sin phi. Ix cos phi minus IR sin phi. So substitute all these things, 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 in this equation. So E square is equals to OA. OA is V. AB is IR cos phi, VC is IX sin phi, and DC is IX cos phi minus IR sin phi. Okay, E square is equals to V plus all these things. And we know that I cos phi. So P is equals to VI cos phi. P is equals to VI cos phi. So this is the power formula for active power. And Q is equals to VI sin phi. This is our reactive power formula. So these two things we know. P is equals to VI cos phi, Q is equals to VI sin phi. So now just consider these things, because we are here having I cos phi and I sin phi. That's why in order to normalize these equations, we are just making the modifications. So these modifications are I cos phi is equals to P by V and I sin phi is equals to Q by V. And again substitute these things in above this equation. So wherever I cos phi is there, substitute P by V, and wherever I sin phi is there, substitute Q by V. Okay, E square is equals to V. So V plus r is there. So let it be r as it is, or I cos phi. I cos phi is p by v. So p r by v. P r by v. Similarly, here also we have I sin phi. What is I sin phi? That is q by v, and x q by v. X q by v. Here also I x cos phi. We have I cos phi, that is p by v. Then x p by v. Here also r q by v. I hope people are got the steps. Okay, nothing. If you just need to, you people are need to form these equations. So after that, direct substitutions. Nothing is there. Just right angle triangle. So you should know how to draw the phasor diagram. I will explain one more time at the end how to draw this. Okay, I will just revise. Okay, let it be now. And E square is equals to V plus RP by V plus XQ by V whole square plus XP by V minus RQ by V whole square. Okay. So this RP by V plus XQ by V. This is the actual thing. What is that? RP by V plus XQ by V. RP by V plus XQ by V. So that I am going to consider it as a delta Vp. So what is delta Vp? So delta Vp is the change in supply voltage. So the voltage that we are observed at the phasors. The change in the voltage at real power and change in the voltage at the reactive power. So just take it as it is. So delta Vp, delta Q. So now I am going to consider this as a delta Vp, the change in voltage. Delta Vq, delta Vq will give you the change in voltage with respect to reactive side, and delta Vp is the change in voltage with respect to real power side. Okay, so Rp by V plus XQ by V is equals to delta Vp. XP by V minus RQ by V gives you the delta VQ. So I am just substituted the same thing here. So delta Vp, this is Vp delta Vp, and this is delta VQ. Delta Vp delta VQ. So what is delta Vp? Rp plus XQ by V. Delta VQ is equals to XP minus RQ by V. So in phase with the V, in quadrature with the V. So Vp is the in phase with the V, and VQ is the in quadrature with the V. So this is the equation now. So we need to one more time, we need to normalize these equations, simplify this equation. So E square is equals to V plus delta Vp whole square plus delta VQ whole square. Or else, so what is the next thing? Or else, if delta VQ, okay, same thing. So if delta VQ is very much less than V plus delta Vp. So here we are going to consider two cases. So what is the condition if delta VQ is very much less than V plus delta Vp, or else this Px. So if this Px is very much less than V square plus Qx. So what happens to our equations, what happens to our system at this condition? Okay, so E square is equals to V plus Rp plus XQ by V. So at that time, if delta VQ is very much less than V plus delta Vp, we have to neglect this term. So very much less. So what happens at the quadrature axis? Normally the voltage differences will be very less compared to the voltage differences at the phasor diagrams in phase voltages. So that's why, just for a time being, neglect this. Just consider this thing. E square is equal to V plus delta Vp square. E square is equal to V plus delta Vp square. Rp plus XQ divided by V whole square. Okay. So now bring this V in the left side. E square minus V square. V square. Okay. So E square minus V square, just take it is E square minus V square, Rp plus XQ by V whole square. So square gets cancelled. So E minus V is slightly equals to Rp plus x cube by v. So this Rp plus x cube by v gives you the delta Vp. So what is the conclusion here? The conclusion is, so delta Vp Rp plus x cube by v is almost equals to E minus v. So the change in the voltage from supply voltage into our load voltage, the voltage that we are going to supply into our circuit at the terminals. So this difference gives you the voltage delta Vp is nothing but the phase with the voltage. Okay, so the difference between the voltages E and V, so this approximately equals to Rp plus xq divided by V. And here if you are going to neglect the resistance, since we are considering the inductive loads, the reactance, so just consider the reactance. You can analyze as it is. So if you are going to consider the resistance, just consider it and neglect the reactance. So take it as two cases. So first consider only resistance terms and next avoid the reactance, and then in the next case just neglect the resistance and consider the reactance. So like that we can do. So here what the steps that we got, that is E minus V is equals to Rp plus x cube by V. So this is the required thing now. So here we are going to neglect resistance. Just neglect the resistance terms. So E minus V. So this E minus V gives you the x cube by V. So when you are going to neglect the resistance, okay, E minus V. So E minus V is equals to x cube by V. So this relationship shows that the receiving end voltage, is E, is depends upon the reactive power drawn by the load. So this is the conclusion that we need to draw here. So as in the first step I have told that the relationship between, so how actually the voltage is depends upon the reactive power. So this is how we have drawn by using the phasor diagram. Okay, E minus V is equals to x cube by V. Here the receiving end voltage, that is V, is depends upon the reactive power drawn by the load at the receiving end. And similarly, if you are going to consider with the resistance at that time E, so E minus V is equals to Rp plus x, the supply voltage. The supply voltage is depends upon the active power drawn by the active power supplying into our load at the supply bus, at the sending end bus. So E minus V is equals to Rp plus xu by V. So this is a important relationship. So here the delta Vp, so here the relationship, so this is the relationship that we have drawn. So this relationship gives you the how actually voltage is depends upon the reactive power. So E minus V gives you the Rp plus xu by V. So here I am just neglecting for the time being, neglecting the resistance. So if you are going to neglect the resistance, then E minus V gives you the x cube by V. So this component, the delta Vp, so component delta Vp changes the magnitude and the delta Vq affects the angle delta. So delta is the angle between the supply voltage and the voltage, the supply voltage and the receiving end voltage, that is delta. Okay, so what is that? So delta Vq affects the delta angle and the component delta Vp changes the magnitude and delta Vq affects the angle delta. So here angle delta, so sine of the angle, sine of this angle, sine delta equal to opposite side by hypotenuse, delta Vq divided by E. So sine delta is equals to delta VQ divided by E. Okay. So same thing that I have written here. Sine delta is equals to delta VQ by E. So what is the angle? The angle which is varies the supply voltage as well as the receiving end voltage. So this is the angle. So the angle delta gives you the sine inverse of delta VQ by E. So this is depends only on real power, that is P. So depends only on real power. This angle delta, you have to remember. So like these questions will be normally asked in your competitives. Okay. So just like consider the SSC exams or KPTCL exams. So what is the angle? What is the angle between the voltage, the supply voltage and the receiving end voltage is mainly depends on. So at that time you have to mention it only depends on the real power. But the active power, sorry, the real power. So but the reactive power mainly depends upon the receiving end voltage. That is V. So this V. So this delta V and the reactive power are just like two phases of a coin. So we can't neglect the one term and vary the other. Can't do like that. So if you vary the V, automatically the reactive power will be changes, and if you vary the reactive power, automatically V is going to also changes. Right? And here the under short circuit condition. So what happens to our system? If you are going to consider under short circuit condition. So just remember this formula. Somewhere it will be useful. So delta is equals to sine inverse of delta VQ by E. So under short circuit condition, the complex power will be given by. So complex power is given by S. So S gives you the complex power. S is equals to VIA. So normally just a different nomenclature. That's it. So complex is nothing but active plus reactive. That's the thing. Active plus reactive gives you the complex thing. So under short circuit condition. So SSC. SSC gives you the short circuit. So complex power under short circuit will be given by EISC star. So here ISC star, the conjugate of the current into supply voltage. So complex power, the current that is flowing through the circuit under short circuit conditions, that is called your ISC star. Okay, so E into ISC star, or else you can also take it as, instead of supply voltage, you can take it as a receiving end voltage as well, V into ISC star. So SSC gives you the V into ISC star. So instead of VI, you can take it as a V square by Z. So V square by ZS. So if you are going to neglect the resistance, similarly here also. So just by neglecting the resistance, so Z is made up of R plus JX, right? So Z is equal to R plus JX. So if you are just neglecting the R, the remaining thing will be only X. So SSC, that is the complex power under short circuit condition. So SSC is equals to V square divided by X. So you know this is a Ohm's law. So SSE. So complex power is equals to voltage into current, just like your Ohm's law. So V square by R, I square into R, right? I square R or V square by R. Sorry, I square by Z, I square into Z or V square by Z. The Ohm's law for calculation of power, the voltage and current, the relationship of Ohm's law. I hope people know this concept. So while studying the Ohm's law, we know P is equals to VI, R is equals to V by I. So same thing that we are substituted here. So if you just neglect the resistance in this, the equation will be like this: V square by R plus JX. So neglect R, V square by X. So V is equals to So V is equals to E divided by 1 plus Q x V square. So substitute in this equation. So this is the equation. E minus V is equals to x cube divided by V. So E, so just normalized, that's it. E minus V. In this equation, E minus V is equals to x cube by V. So here V is equals to E minus x cube by V. E minus x cube by V. V is equals to E minus x cube by V. So here it's given by E divided by 1 plus Q x by V square. Simplify the equation ashte. So V is equals to E divided by 1 plus Q x by V square. So here V by x square, V square by x. We know V square by x is equal to SSC. So here we have x by V square. So x by V square is nothing but 1 by SSC. So E divided by 1 plus Q by SSC. So E divided by 1 plus Q by SSC. Artha aitala step? Anyone having doubt? If you got any steps, or if you got any confusion, just ask there itself. ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಎಲ್ಲ ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರು ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲೇ ಕೇಳಿ. Okay, it's an important concept actually. So V is equals to E divided by 1 plus Q by V x V square. So that substituted in this equation. So E minus V is equals to x cube by V. So I am just substituted this V square by x in this equation. Okay, so V square by x, so x by V square, we have here x by V square, so that will be given by SSC. So E divided by 1 plus Q by SSC, or else, so everything is same. Nammu modify ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ equation. E of 1 minus Q by SSC. So instead of taking the denominator, you can take it as a numerator, multiplication factor. Same thing, these two equations are same. E into 1 minus Q by SSC. So the term which is at the denominator, if you send the numerator, it will be minus. It's E into 1 minus Q by SSC. So here, if you are going to consider the reactive power which is very much less than the complex power. So first of all, complex power will be having real power and reactive power. So here I am just neglecting the reactive power concept. So where Q is very much less than SSC. So at that time, what happens to the equation? So at that condition, so this relationship, the relationship between the voltage and receiving end, the reactive power in terms of short circuit strength. So the short circuit that will be given here. So short circuit relationship, the relationship between the voltage and receiving end reactive power. So that we are to draw. Okay, that's it. So just now consider a line. So just consider a graph for the generated power, the reactive power, and the voltage. So here the x-axis, the y-axis gives you the voltage, that is in per unit, that is receiving end voltage, and x-axis gives you the reactive power. So reactive power per unit. Okay, so here we are just drawing a line parallel to this. So this line gives you the operating point of reactive power. So this is the line. So this is the line that is actually makes the difference between the change in voltage. Okay, so this point gives you the supply voltage, and the point that is intersecting this point and this point gives you the operating point of a reactive power, and the difference between these two gives the delta V. So in this graph, by this above graph, so by the above graph, you can observe that, so at the receiving end, if you are neglecting the reactive power, so at the receiving end, if we have neglecting the reactive power, so the reactive power is negative. So at receiving end, only when it is in capacitive in nature. So the receiving end voltage can be greater than the sending end voltage. So this effect is called as Ferranti effect. So as I was explaining in the previous sessions, so Ferranti effect. So okay, this Ferranti effect can be minimized by using series capacitors that connected in the transmission lines. In series with the transmission lines, if you are just connecting the series capacitors, we can avoid the Ferranti effect. So what is the Ferranti effect? If the receiving end voltage is higher than the sending end voltage. So similarly, the same effect we can observe here. So if the voltage, the change in the voltage is very much high, so that we can observe here that the receiving end voltage will be higher than the sending end voltage. So this is the conclusion, and this is the relationship between the voltage and the reactive power, and this is also one more relationship between the differences in the voltages by neglecting the resistance, and this is the relationship between the sine delta, the angle, the change in the angle that we can observe. So the delta, this is the angle that we have observed the supply voltage and the receiving end voltage. So this delta is important here. We can use this angle sum at the numericals. So that's why remember this also. Okay. So this is the concept about dependence of voltage on reactive power. So here we have drawn the phasor diagram by considering the load is inductive in nature. Similarly, this is the phasor diagram if you are going to consider the load is capacitive in nature. You can do also. So here I am just revising once again of how to draw the phasor diagram. Okay. So first draw the voltage line V, and since we are considering the inductive loads, so inductive loads having the nature of lagging, so that is this. So when the current is lagging the voltage, so this is the graph, sorry, this is the line characteristics. So the angle phi gives you the angle of lag. Okay. Okay. So now draw the same characteristics. So draw the line which is parallel to this line. So I. So this is the parallel line. So this is the A. So this is the line parallel to this line. Okay. So now draw a line perpendicular to this IR. So this is the current I, this is the V. So this is a voltage drop, similar to parallel to same line. Okay. So draw the perpendicular line of 90 degree and connect these 2 points. So this gives you the E, the supply voltage. Okay. So extend these 2 points. Extend this and extend this. So this gives you the right angle triangle. So O, C, D or E. OCD. So by going through this right angle triangle, we are deriving the characteristics dependency of the voltage and reactive power. So E minus V is equals to, so this is E minus V is equals to Rp plus XU by V. So this is one more equation, and V is equals to E of 1 minus Q by SAC. So SAC is our complex power. Okay, it's enough now. So we will discuss the remaining thing in our next session. So if you want to ask anything, you can ask.